Hello. Hello from IP SoC 14 in Grenoble. I am now with a company that's quite old in the IP field, and I think they may have invented the notion of IP because they were created in 83 and they never stopped. And I am with the founder and the CEO and the president, which is Hal Barbour. And of course, the question I will ask him first is what's new at CAST, and he will probably tell us some exciting stuff.
Okay. Thank you, Gabrielle. It's good to be here. I'm not sure if we can take credit for being the founder, but we have been around a long time, since 1993, and our original focus was in library models, and that morphed into IP. So we're one of the earliest players, that's for sure. Today is really pretty exciting for us because we have extended our core business in the 8-bit microcontroller, the 8051 world, also in our 32-bit world, and new GPU area to address the requirements of IoT and wearable device requirements. We have the world's fastest 8051. You might ask, why do you care? Well, the higher the performance of a processor, the lower you can run the clock rate. So you get more processing done in less time, and if you shut the machine down and let it rest, you just got leakage to deal with, and that's it. So the higher the performance, slower the clock rate, the better the power requirements. Now, also that extends into our new member of our 32-bit family, which is the BA20 processor, and that processor has exceptionally good performance characteristics, particularly for low power requirements. We'll talk about that a bit a little later. We also have a very small low power GPU, which also fits the low power paradigm. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We're the first vendor to actually offer a CAN FD core. CAN's been around for a long time, but with the increased bandwidth requirements, particularly in automobiles today, you need faster and faster, higher bandwidth. And I think we're certainly the first, if not the only one, that's actually offering a CAN FD core today. And then again, we have sort of our traditional video and image processing, a wide range. It's the widest range of both image and video through the JPEG series and JPEG 2000, as well as 8.264 encoding engines. So.
Yeah, it looks impressive. In fact, I knew you very early about the 8051 when it was downloaded for free on our web. But I think since that time you have done a lot. So I have a question about something called the Linley BA announcement. So can you tell us more?
Thank you. Yes, we just made an announcement at the Linley conference 2 weeks ago of the BA20, which is the lowest power 32-bit processor available today. Processing power is really a three-legged stool. First is the footprint of the processor. Is it small? Yes, it's very, very small. However, that's not the sole story. It also has a lot to do with memory. How much memory do you need? So it has to do with code density as well. How good is your processor in optimizing the code for very, very dense code requiring less and less power? We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The third leg of the stool is actually performance efficiency. Like I said with the 8051, the same is true in 32-bit. Slower you can run the clock, the more you can have the processor asleep, the less power that you use. So with our Pipeline Zero architecture that we have, we get a footprint that's as small as 10K gates, which is roughly comparable to an 8051, but with 3.41 core marks per megahertz, which is comparable to the M4 of the ARM line. So the performance of this, we get the performance with the BA20 of an M4 at a footprint about the size of an M0. So it's been proven in real life cases where our instruction set architecture yields significantly smaller code sizes in many cases. We had a customer over the last year that had a requirement. They had to fit all their code into 128K. They looked at all the other 32-bit processor candidates. The best they could do was 178K. They told us if you could fit their code into 128K, they'd buy it. We did, and they did. So that was quite good.
Congratulations. So ARM is not the only one on the market now, which is very good at the time where everybody's going to Internet of Things, a new application. Right. But I have still a question. I always thought that GPU is the highest highest point? And I think that you have one also.
That's a really good question as well. It's interesting that the same thing holds true in GPU as in CPU when going to IoT and wearables. There's no question that there's some incredibly high performance GPU cores that do support gaming and support smartphones, wearable devices, and tablets that do quite impressive processing. But to scale those back down to what's required for IoT and wearables is not an easy task. We started from ground zero saying, what does a GPU need to support these low power, low graphics requirements where the people aren't going to be doing gaming? So we started from a fresh tablet and designed the Think 2.5D, which today is the smallest GPU core available on the market. Fits really greatly into the GPU space, or into the wearables and IoT space.
I think we have to stop. I thank you very much. Okay. I'm really impressed knowing you for so long, so the old people can do well. Yeah. So we congratulate each other.
It's great to be here with friends.